Manchester City started this season looking like the unstoppable machine we've all come to expect under Pep Guardiola. To believe another title was almost inevitable, but suddenly the narrative changed and questions started appearing everywhere. Pundits began doubting them, rival fans started celebrating early, and headlines began asking whether City's title dream was slowly collapsing right in front of our eyes. So what actually happened, and more just the calm before one of the most dangerous comebacks we've ever seen in Premier League history? Because if there's one thing we've learned over the years, it's that writing off Manchester City too early is one of the biggest mistakes anyone can make. The season began with promise as key players looked sharp and confident. The team's tactical shape seemed balanced, and Pep's system was once again evolving with subtle changes that kept opponents guessing. But then came unexpected struggles, including dropped points against teams fans thought City would easily beat, moments where the defense looked unusually vulnerable, and games where the attack seemed predictable instead of unstoppable. Suddenly, social media was filled with debates asking whether Pep's tactics had become too complicated or whether the hunger that once defined City's dominance was fading. Injuries also began to play a role as squad depth was tested, and players were forced into unfamiliar positions which disrupted the rhythm that had made City so dangerous for years. And while rivals capitalized on every mistake City made, the pressure only grew sting because while critics focused on the negatives, there were signs hidden beneath the chaos suggesting that this team was far from finished, including moments of brilliance from star players stepping up when it mattered most, tactical tweaks from Pep that hinted at a bigger long-term plan, and the kind of resilience that only champions possess when they refuse to accept defeat, even during their worst moments. One moment of magic can completely change a season. Kevin De Bruyne's influence, whenever he returned to the pitch, showed how and young talents like Phil Foden demonstrated that City's future remains incredibly bright, despite current challenges. However, critics argue that the Premier League has evolved and rivals are no longer afraid of Manchester City the way they once were, with teams pressing higher, defending deeper, and exposing weaknesses that previously went unnoticed, which raises the question of whether City's dominance has finally been figured out or whether this is come back stronger than ever. Pep Guardiola himself has faced intense scrutiny, often uses difficult periods as a testing ground for new ideas that later become unstoppable strategies when you can still see flat, including dominant possession numbers, high pressing intensity, and the ability to control games even when results don't go their way. The real challenge lies in consistency, because while City can produce moments of brilliance, they must maintain that level every single week if they want to stay alive in the title race. Meanwhile, teams are gaining confidence every time City drops points, while City players must deal with constant criticism and pressure from media and fans who expect perfection at all times. This is where leadership becomes crucial, both on and off the pitch, as experienced players must rally the squad and remind everyone what it takes to be champions. And let's be honest, Manchester City have been in difficult positions before, only to rise again with unstoppable momentum, turning doubters into believers and critics into silent observers. So, is the title dream really collapsing, or are we witnessing the early chapters of another legendary comeback story that could redefine this season entirely? Before we continue, I want to hear your opinion because football debates are what make this game exciting, so drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me, do you think Manchester City's title race football analysis? Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the biggest football stories. Now back to the action, because upcoming fixtures will play a massive role in shaping City's destiny, with crucial matches against top rivals that could either revive their confidence or push them further away from the trophy. Every goal scored or conceded from this point forward will carry enormous weight, and fans know that a single winning streak could instantly change the narrative from collapse to comeback. Pep Guardiola's biggest challenge will be finding the perfect balance between tactical innovation and stability, ensuring that players understand their roles while still adapting to opponents who are constantly evolving. The defense must regain its solidity, while the midfield must rediscover the fluid creativity that once made City's football look effortless. And if the attack begins to click again, the rest of the league could quickly realize that Manchester City are far from finished. One of the most fascinating aspects of this situation is how quickly public perception can change, because a few weeks ago, many believed City were unbeatable, while now some claim the era is over, using criticism as motivation to prove everyone wrong. Fans should also remember that the Premier League season is long, unpredictable, and filled with dramatic twists that can reshape the standings overnight, which means the title race is rarely decided until the final months, when momentum becomes more important than early form. And when you consider City's experience, depth, and tactical intelligence, it becomes clear that counting them out entirely would be incredibly risky. So, as we look ahead, the biggest question remains whether this difficult phase will become the turning point that sparks a powerful resurgence or the beginning of a gradual decline that allows new challengers to rise. The answer will be revealed through performances on the pitch, not opinions on social media, and the next few matches may define how this season is remembered, either as the moment City lost their grip on dominance or the moment they ignited one of the greatest comebacks the Premier League has ever seen. Football fans around the world are watching closely because no matter which side you support, you know that Manchester City have the talent, mentality, and tactical genius to change the story in an instant. And that uncertainty is exactly what makes this season so exciting, unpredictable, and impossible to ignore. So keep your eyes on every match, every goal, and every tactical move, because the story of Manchester City's title dream is far from finished, and the final chapter may surprise everyone who thought football breakdowns and explosive stories like this. Make sure to check out the next video on this channel, where we reveal another shocking football story you definitely don't want to miss.